Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Hendo's Hot Topics. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good week. Hope you're loving yourself. Now today we have a filmmaker, an actor, a content creator, and I'd like to say a social media star. Theo Shakes, how's it going, my friend?
Kia ora, bro. It's going good, man. I'm doing good.
Doing good. Now you're on a bit of a holiday, so I really appreciate you coming in and taking some time to come on the podcast.
Easy, bro. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy. It was a nice drive all the way out.
Yeah.
Here. That's what I enjoy. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now I love to start off with, people always go, how you doing? It's so easy to be, good, I'm alright. So I love to say is how you doing in general.
How am I? Oh, nice. How am I doing in general? Good, man. I think when I end up in a holiday situation like this, or a little bit of a break from the everyday stuff, it's it is a bit of a reflection thing, and I have been in a bit of a phase of like trying to figure out, okay, when things are starting to go up, how do I want to be, both inside of the work and outside of the work? So I am actually, I have to admit, I was watching a film the other day, Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's everyone who recommended it to me said it's good. There's not one bad thing about it. So I was like, all right, I went into it. I was tearing up in it, and I was like, yeah. It's one of those films that just kind of brings you back and starts making you think about the simple things and like, what kind of path do I want to be on? Okay, not too like motivational, but it was just like a little wake up. So I've had to rethink some things, but I think I'm good, man. Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing really well. I was the past few months, now and again, I feel like I've found my groove. And something pops up and I have to rethink it, like you just said, like almost like a regrounding moment. Okay, now this is coming. How am I gonna stay on the same path but adapt to what's happened? So it's good. It's always good being busy. I find if I spend too much time just doing nothing, it's a lot of time to think, and sometimes thinking isn't really a good thing.
Yeah. You can overthink, eh?
Yeah, bro. Easy. No, that's really interesting that you said that you just watched that film and it allowed you to think of the simple stuff, because I feel we're actually speaking about before we started is once we get older, as we get older, we have more expectations, more responsibilities, more need to achieve and become involved in the social norm. Is that we do forget the basics and how to look after ourselves and how to remain happy with who we are, and if we're not happy, how to change it. So what are some things that the basics that made you realize that either you've forgotten about or you stopped doing?
Well, like when I come up, because I'm based in Wellington, and I'm from Auckland, but I always come back and forth. They're two cities that are close enough, and when you get to bounce back and forth between cities, they are completely different worlds, and there's people that belong in one world and people that belong in another. And so I get caught in those two mindsets because I'm the one bouncing in between them. And when I get back up, I'm reminded of my family, and I'm reminded of my good mates that are up here. And you can always know, I was telling a mate last night about this, you can always know you love them and stuff, and you can always say that, but until you're in their space and stuff, then it has another potency or another meaning. And that's what started to happen, like, while being up here. I'm like, oh, yeah, these people exist. And the people who exist back in Wellington, it's like, I get hit with that rush when I leave the city. And then I instantly get caught up in this again. And I kind of, not forget about the Wellington people, but it's like, oh, I'm so distracted by this. But it's like, it's really healthy for me too, because it's like, this is where my roots are, my groundings are. In fact, driving over here, I was just thinking about the amount of roads there are. Like, this sounds metaphorical and stuff, but literally, like, just looking at all the street names as I was driving away, because I was coming all the way out west here to somewhere where I haven't really been. And so I was thinking, as I'm leaving my own neighborhood, I can count, like, so many street names. Like, when I hit Welly and, you talk to people like, where are you from? It's like, okay, I could tell you where I'm from. I could also name, like, 50 plus streets around the street I live on. And we're like coded to know that. And I feel like that is everyone in life. We all physically have like a little hood, and unless you were born on an island or something, or you live on a boat, but other than that, we all have streets. So anyway, shit like that really like reminds me of the groundedness, like who I am and where I belong. The little networks like you physically get for free. I got that for free. You get that for free where you grow up. Unless, but some people do bounce around a lot, so that's tricky. But I have to admit, I stayed in one place for a long time. Yeah.
Well, I just thought of something then when you're speaking about the roads, and it kind of loops back into us grounding ourselves and going back to the basics. Is we are so capable of so much, and like you just said, there's so many roads. It's amazing that you said that, because what I'm trying to get at is there's so many roads either you haven't driven down or you don't know of, and you can also almost tie that into your life. As if you don't take that trip, maybe to an uncomfortable area of your town or to somewhere where you've never been before, there's all these different paths for you to go down that you don't know, that you've never touched on, you've never tried, or you've never taken the risk to get that chance of going down that road. So it's real random. I just thought of that then, and it's a lot of people. As another basic is a lot of people tend to look over that of how capable they actually are.
Yeah.
If they actually just stop trying to fit in with everyone, stop trying to be the person other people want them to be, and just be themselves and drive and go get what they want.
Yeah, things can come full circle too. Like, I recently went back to my high school and just picked up a bunch of stuff from a teacher where I did drama and the musicals and all of those artsy things back in high school. And we were just chatting and reminiscing about the shows I was in and the things we were doing. And there was this one show we did, Hairspray.
Yep.
And there was this final dance where we had to, just basically bring the black cast come together, the white cast come together, and it's like integration, and yay. But you have to really perform that last number to full capacity. And I remember I got into the dance section of the musical, and I was like, I'm not really a dancer, but I can do it. And I just didn't really believe I was that good. And then there was this one girl, Zealand, shout out Zealand, and she had done dance her whole life, and she pulls us up and she said, in order to do this, you really have to push, and you don't see it yet. And she just gave us an example. She like whipped the arm, did the move, and pushed, and you could see her face was red. And then I was like, all right, let me try it. She's like, nah, give it more. Nah, I reckon you're still at 70%. Nah, okay, there we go. And then we came in that night and we performed it to the whole cast and crew with the director, my teacher. And then he's like, right, something was different today. You guys killed it. And that was actually classic moment. But for me, it was like, I did not know I could do that.
Yeah.
I did not know, like the road thing, I did not know that path even existed. Sometimes you think sometimes you can like look at things and go, oh, I don't know I have the potential to do that. But you can acknowledge that you may not know. I couldn't even acknowledge it. I was just like, look, this is not happening. There's nothing. I didn't even know. And then it was like the aha moment beyond aha. It's like, oh, okay. I've actually gotten. And then the second that's a thing, it's like, okay, it can go up from there again. Yeah. Like it does, actually in my life, it's like it doesn't need to go lower. That's the new standard. But yeah,
I love that new standard. That's good, bro. That is good. So moving on from being a We'll jump to now. We'll skip school. We'll jump to now.
Go on.
What got you into the path you are now in terms of being a content creator? Because, bro, that is honestly that has worked wonders. It's brought people together. It's made people laugh. It's cheered people up when they've had bad days. Like the stuff that you're doing has helped a lot of people. So what got you into that path?
Well, if we're talking TikTok specifically, I think it was a lockdown situation last year, and it was coming back from drama school and having, a need to still make art. Yep. But also, I was doing YouTube for my whole childhood sort of thing. I was that YouTube kid. So I had already gotten all of the stuff out. Like when you want to just make and be goofy, I'd gotten a lot of that out. And it's messy. It's maybe not funny. It's too try hard, but I'd gotten it out. And then when TikTok came along, the actual app, I remember my friend, close mate, he's just like, you're going to want this. I was like, nah. And then a week later, I ended up getting it. And then I started doing all the duet stuff, all the trends, and it was attached to Musical.ly. It was the same app. So I had all my old Musical.ly things like, why are you in the strong? Yeah, and all of that.
OG.
Yeah, and then I ended up posting every now and then, and I had one video that went viral when I was in high school, which was a remote, and you always push your finger around the buttons for fun. That was it. That was it. It was just a little unlocked memory, and it blew up. So I kind of knew what the feeling was like, but that was like, it felt really fluke. And then about 2 years or a year later, I ended up getting stuck in the lockdown, saw Milligram post the teacher impressions, and I was like, this is acting. This is a skill. You need to maybe do this. Let's have some fun and try it out. And I did it, and then boom, from there, it took its own path and really blew up. Yeah.
Because you're now known, I like to say, as the man who's lived every scenario.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was actually talking to my mate about one the other day, and I wrote it down here. You actually did it quite recently, was the lollipop one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my lord.
Yeah.
Standing in front of the class and give you two because you're my friend. I was like, holy crap. Like, how do you recall these moments or come up? Is it just like
that one's funny,
late at night just comes up? Okay, we gotta do it.
Yeah, well, it depends, but that one specifically, it was like I had gone to get lollipops for another skit, which was actually like a paid thing, like a brand deal collab thing. So I took it seriously and went and bought props. I know normally, I like making with what I have in the room, like making out of adversity kind of makes your content raw and really interesting. So I went and bought lollipop, which is not much, but I still went and bought something. And I was like, wow, now I bought something, like I just had to look at it and stare it down in the face. And I was like, this is something else too, because I hadn't seen like a lollipop packet. Like, you walk in the supermarket every day, but I don't know, as an adult, you don't really buy the lollipops. So I was like, fuck, I've seen this packet. Like, that's right. I used to hand out the lollipops in high school when it was my birthday, and everyone did it. And I can remember like the classroom, and I instantly visualized. I'm like, yeah, that's funny. And I sometimes, like, if you're with me for a full day, you might catch me out loud saying, oh, yeah, no, that is one.
Yeah,
because I've just clicked. That's funny, but that can be a TikTok.
Yep.
When you'd be surprised how many people probably just bring up shit from their childhood every day and don't realize that they could instantly turn that into a TikTok. But there is, maybe a skill in how you formulate it. But yeah, that's how that one came about. So
that one was gold. I even showed some of my family today. Just like you said, the core memories, the core memories that gets unlocked. So, like a lot of us, we found new avenues during lockdown. You know, TikTok was yours, and you've started creating all this content. Was it? We kind of touched on it earlier. Was making this content almost keeping your flow going with your acting and that kind of role play? Was it keeping your mind ticking and that motivation going?
That's exactly what it is. It's not, or it started out not for fame and not for views. Because I tell you, like YouTube, I was chasing views. Like, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to win an audience every time. But at the same time, because I was never winning an audience, I was making cool art. However, with TikTok, it's so quick and simple. It was kind of like, let's have some fun with my acting stuff here. Let's put on an accent. Let's see where we go. And it's become a muscle every day. And there's been so many days at drama school, it's like, I feel a bit, nah, that wasn't a fun day. What could I do? Make a TikTok. Like, it has kind of been like that. It just frees me a bit. I think there is a lot of actors would say this. There is something magic about stepping into a character and not being yourself for a little quick minute, and then laughing about it when you take off the clothes and go, what the fuck did I just do? But that was cool. And like, yes, it feels real. And it's like, sometimes, you know, because that's the thing too. It is quite a lot to make maybe a video a day, and I have to keep kind of an eye out on what I'm making and how it looks. But that means you're staring at your face back every day.
Yes.
And it does do something to you. I'm not going to lie. You're seeing every like angle and every aspect of your voice, of your eyes, because you can. It's literally there on the phone. And so that's been interesting for me to be able to go like, that's actually how I look. And then sometimes I can really see, wow, that doesn't feel like me. That's like some strong character work. And then sometimes I know this is me being cheeky. This is clearly me. But yeah, that's it's been freeing because it is something outside of yourself.
When you said there how you see your face when you're scrolling videos every day, has it had some negative impacts on you in terms of, well, I guess I could say second guessing yourself with what you're trying to do? Oh, okay, this isn't how I thought I was, or like you just said there, you're seeing every angle or hearing your voice in these videos. Has it had some negative impacts?
Yeah, I mean, maybe like on nights, it's been like like that sort of thing. Just like one random late at night, I'll just kind of look at them and try and look at them from a very new lens and be like, that is terrible. But it's really not. I mean, most people bought it, hundreds and thousands.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes I'll go, nah. So yeah, that does happen every now and then. I will say that. But it comes in peaks and troughs.
Yeah.
I think I'm not too. I think it's just a human thing anyway to kind of judge yourself, obviously. But I'm not too detrimental with it. And I think there's been moments I remember when I listened to the Kendrick Lamar album.
Yep.
And it dropped, and me and the boys did a listen, and we just sat there kind of in a dark room and just like, we stood up actually, just standing for 40 minutes or an hour listening to it. And it got to this one song called Crown, and it's not like one of the biggest tracks out of the album, but on the night it felt like the biggest one to me. Like, this is the big one. But that was only because I was really resonating with it, and it was about this stuff like, you can't please everybody, you can't please everybody. And heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like, that's a line that's quoted in it. It's from Shakespeare, but Stormzy does it too. And when you hear Stormzy's song and that crown one, there's that weight and that you feel that. I think that's undeniable. Some creators don't acknowledge it, which is interesting, or some are experiencing it, but the creators I've talked to, they don't seem like they say it, whereas for me it really, I want to make it clear and obvious, because I don't want to like confuse myself or miss it. But yeah, it's like kind of, whoa, this can be big, like this can be dangerous but exciting. You want it but you don't, it is that thing. And if you listen to Kendrick's song, it's about that, like, well, I've got to serve a people, I've got to serve someone, I've got to serve myself, but at the same time, the weight you start to get when you do that. So yeah, that's always being careful with that, And I think one of the cool things, as I've expressed that thought, people have gone, it's just good enough to acknowledge it, because you can miss that and then dig too deep.
Don't let it brew up.
Exactly.
Well, I guess the good thing about what you're doing is it's so in tune to who you are. Acting and role playing is, hopefully it doesn't come to the point where you feel like you're losing yourself. You're so in tune with the content you're putting out. You're making yourself laugh. You're making others laugh. But it's just so crazy that with being yourself, how one video can put you in the spotlight to millions. Yeah. Like, your biggest video has nearly got 6 million views. Yeah. And it's insane. And a lot of us, whether you are a professional in your avenue or you're pursuing something, is try not to lose yourself. And that's so easy. That's easier said than done. But I guess the easiest way is try not to look too far forward. Yeah. Enjoy the steps you're doing now. Enjoy the things you've learned. Just be real grounded with yourself and where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. And the biggest thing that I wish I was told when I was younger, and I've said it a couple of times now, is to not be who others want you to be. I've touched on it a couple of times, is the whole fake it till you make it. You can only fake it for so long. Then you make it and you go, okay, well, where do I go now? Yeah. I've been someone for so long, I'm not. Where do we go now? So just be true to yourself, and exactly like Theo said earlier, is that you just got to keep moving. You just have to keep ticking and ticking, and sometimes you can catch yourself off guard of going, oh shit, okay, that's not actually me, or that's not where I thought that's not who or what I thought I was doing, but that's all good. Chuck that in the bag of lessons and we'll keep moving. Yeah.
But like a truth to it too is, like, some days it gets quiet and you're longing for you are longing, like, once it's that hitting a high and then wanting to hit the high again in a content creation way. So there have been days where it's like, oh damn, today feels dry with everything, and that I want more. But then there's that funny quote by that guy on the Joe Rogan podcast. What more could you want? Yeah, what more could you want? The universe is so... Yeah. What more could you want? And, like, it is that too. Because the next day you'll go, whoa. Didn't need anything. I was chill. I just got a bit quiet. I think when you get the quiet moment, obviously don't lose yourself too much in the quietness, because then you won't move forward. But, like, rest in it. Enjoy it, Just enjoy it. Because, it may not get quiet again. That's like one thing, unless you make the quiet. But
Now I want to ask you the $1 million question. Yes, I've been seeing it since I've been watching you for well over a year now, and I've seen it in probably every every comment of the video is, are you British or are you Kiwi?
Yeah, that's
obviously
right.
I know that, but I think the people want to know that.
Yeah, I am indeed British, but I am indeed Kiwi. Like, fuck it. Like, I've grown up here. So, yeah, I was born in England, Sheffield, and moved here when I was 4. But the truth is, I'm living every day pretty much in Auckland or Wellington. So, you know, that's my life. But, yeah, it's putting on an accent. It still spooks people out. Terrell, the other day when I met him, he's like, wait, so, sorry, bro. Like, so are you from London then? He was really confused. Yeah. He was so confused. And I love that. I was like, wait, really? You're like not sure? It's like a mystery, eh? Yeah. And they kind of just, people want to, so how long are you here for then? Are you on holiday or something? Yeah. Like, you're like, what brings you to this side of the world? Nah. But then if I have a long enough chat, they go, oh, but you do sound British again. Like, because it will first go back to the Kiwi sort of thing. And then they'll hear like me a little bit more like Hive. And then, wow, yeah. So, yeah.
I like that. It adds a bit of a mysterious to your character as a person, as who you are.
Yeah.
Where to now for Theo? You know, you obviously you're hungry for more. You want to achieve more. So where you off to now?
Well, that's great. I've got another year of acting school to go.
Love that. Yep.
And that final year is kind of about understanding who you are as the independent artist and getting your mahi together so that you can make that jump and leap into the industry. Yep. So that year's really, it's going to be a goodbye, a farewell as well. When you're in a class of 20, you want to hold on to them once you start knowing the end's coming. You know, there's a lot of days where you're like, oh, fuck, these guys are too much. Or like, you know, shout out you guys, but like, it can get a lot. And then you leave it or you head up to another city, especially when I went to England for a holiday recently. I was like, ooh, like, where's my whānau? So that's going to be tricky. I think learning how to say goodbye to a set of people you've been with for 3 years. So that will happen soon. I can already feel it. I'm one of those people that holds on. I'm nostalgic and like I still can't let go of high school in many ways. Yeah. But yeah, along with that, I'm developing a feature script, which is a full-length film, and I'm hoping to keep chipping away at that. That was always the plan. Go away from film school and go into acting, and in the meantime, all I can do is write. Really, you know, I could try and shoot some films, but I really don't have time. So, writing, building a portfolio there, and then seeing what comes out of that, because I'd love to shoot a film. I have an itch to storytell, so that's somewhere on the books, I reckon. Yeah.
I mean, bro, have you got any advice that maybe something that you've learned along the way? Advice, a lesson you've learned that you want to put out there, or that you wish you knew earlier?
In regards to anything specific, or just in general?
Just in general, yeah. Maybe a lesson you learned that stuck with you, or
you know, I think thing that's on my mind right now could just support your friends, like really where you see them, and when you see them, like, you know, support them. I think with the work they're doing, with the things that they're doing, especially when you have very different career paths too, there's still ways to support them, especially if you've got I'll say this for the people who are creative and artsy people. You can get quite caught up in the fact that we're the showy thing and it's fun, and if you've got a mate who's doing, let's say, plumbing, it's like, you know, it's only cool to check out my stuff. But no, there is still something special about that plumbing, and there is still something important about what they're doing and the mahi they're doing over there. And that's a thing that I think creators and artists need to understand, and many will, very many of the experienced ones. But for the ones that are still interested in this craft, you can't give shit to the plumber or the builder, because in order to do our job, you've got to be these people. You got to understand them. You got to play them. You got to empathize with them. Yep. You're not going to play the acting role as an actor. It's probably going to be the acting role as a ordinary person going about their day 9-to-5 job. So that's what I'm saying. Like, find ways to support them in the stuff they're doing too, and in the same way, hopefully they come and support your stuff. Because I think that that means so much. You know, I think it's one thing getting to go to the cool stuff and the da-da-da, but there's something really raw about those little moments where you see your mate. Yeah, that's where it's been more valuable to me, because those are people you want to share those experiences with.
Yeah.
So that's actually a thing that's on the top of my mind, I'd say. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And it's, wow. Wow, yeah. We all get caught up in our lives, eh? And sometimes you just need to step back and pat your mates on the back or check up on them. So to finish off, that was beautiful. I was going to hand it over to you, but I think what you just said there is amazing.
No, that's right. So still riff, man.
That was good, bro. I just wanted to ask off my head from what you just said there.
Go for it.
You know, being an actor or in high school, did you come and go with your friends and how they saw you and that sort of, I guess you could say, that stereotypical, that image?
Did I come and go, like,
as in, were your friends, did you stay strong with your friends, or did you get a bit of imposter syndrome?
Yeah, there's been mates I've had since primary school who are still mates today, who will check this sort of thing out. And but the thing is, we've also since college lived very different lives. And some of them won't know the stuff I'm up to, and I'm the type of person that gets very nostalgic. So if I see an image or a video and I'm at this age where I love kind of networking, I've been tempted to just pick up the phone and meet up with them. And I've done that with a couple of old mates that I hadn't seen in like 8 years, because I'm like, who are you now? And what lives have you lived? And I still need to do that with one person in particular. But so there's that. And that just goes off because you live different adolescent, puberty, high school lives. And then there was a time in high school where you're in a group of boys, just the boys group. That's always a big thing. But there's levels to it. If you're in an 8, it's a certain thing. It can break off into 4-4. If you're in a 6, it can break off into 3-3. If you're in a 3, it then becomes 2-1, and that can always create a push and pull. And there was definitely a time in high school where we were really tight and we just felt right together, and it was like that phase where you're drinking, I love you, bro, I love you. And then post that happened, things started to break off. I chose to let some people out, maybe that I shouldn't have done, and that was maybe more on me. And then some people chose to let me out, and that makes sense too, I think. And that started to happen, and then because of that, I was left with just a couple mates and almost lost a friendship I really didn't need to. And thank God I didn't, because now we're at acting school in Wellington together, and we ended up managing to like continue our friendship to this day. But it does, I think, when you've got a big friend group, like a big boys group, it is hard to spot exactly what it means, but there's a collective thing that's really enjoyable. You'll probably share a lot of experiences because you'll go to like the batch or whatever. But when you hone down to like a small group, or I remember a guy telling me this, he said, oh mate, once you leave high school you really only have 1 or 2. And I was like, yeah, shut up. And it kind of has become that, like, it's tight, you still know people. But so that was like a pill to swallow. I remember in year 13, and I was trying to just hold on to like the last bit of high school, as well as like, I do really care about, like, I am a sucker for just human nature. So I really like care about all the people I knew in high school, but I'm also like, on a day-to-day basis, now we probably couldn't have gotten along because, we had different personalities or different things we wanted to get up to in the weekend, especially when you're getting to that age where you can really decide your life, where you can choose where you want to drive, you can choose where you want to eat, you can choose what you want to buy. And then you start seeing, okay, don't force some friendships, really don't. Or, you can get really dreamy and the let's make a podcast sort of friendship, if it's not actually like to try and keep that you have to be careful of that stuff too. But it's definitely been a road, I think. And that's something I've just I've explored as an idea and as a thing, not even an idea, as a human thing, friendship. So I made a short film about it once because I just wanted to like understand it more, because it's a very magical, confusing thing, and the older you get, the more it means something. And you talk to your parents and you'll hear they've got mates that they've had for 40 odd years or whatever, but they don't necessarily live in the same country. And I'm not at that phase yet, but I'm like, that's wild. What do you mean? You can't be friends with them. I get it. You can do the whole, I'll ring you up and no time's passed. But I'm like, how does that actually work? So distance. I've got one mate who's overseas now, but it's like, we're finding out why that call is really important. But there's no time together. So what does it mean when you get space together, you know? But yeah, it's a rocky, interesting, and then fueling and full wholehearted ride friendship, you know? Yeah.
Perfectly said. That. Yeah, good.
What about you? How do you find friendships? Like, how do you view making new ones in this day? Do you ever feel like my plate's too full, I don't need new friends, or I'm always open? Like, how do you look at it?
I was almost the same in high school, I mean, everyone in high school always wants the biggest friend group. You want the biggest circle. And I started realizing who I really wanted around me. And I started cutting it down and who was, who was really there for me and who I felt comfortable with, who I actually found like a friend. Because I see my friends as family. Like I see a friend who I'd invite over for dinner or that sort of sense. So when I started seeing people who either were putting me in a negative headspace or a negative road, I was like, okay, all right. Got to separate myself from you, and it was really good. And it almost hit me like, oh, okay, I've got 4 really good friends now, and then you see all these people who are going out to parties and everything, and you almost feel left out, like FOMO, bit of FOMO. So then, exactly what you said there. Then you start pushing the buttons to just be friends with someone when it wasn't really there. And even recently, I've let go of some friends who I've been friends with since high school, and I thought it was a really good idea. Because I didn't feel really comfortable in the situation. Felt like we weren't as close as we were anymore. We weren't as friends. And even now, I was actually thinking about it the other day. I was like, was that worth it? Was it more of a in the moment decision, or was it something that like my gut was telling me to do? Some days I'll go, oh yeah, that was the right thing that I had to do. You know, where would I be if I didn't do that? Some days I go, oh, I wish I could just go catch up with them or have a drink with them or just how it used to be. And that's the thing is you do tend to look on how it used to be. And when it's not how it used to be, then you get caught in a cycle of thinking too much. And then you start, like you said, holding on to something that's not there just because you want to try feel that feeling again. And it's a weird trap. It's a weird trap that you get into when you try be friends. Even in relationships, if your relationship isn't going well and you're just trying to stay together because you feel like it can work, or do you feel that spark still there when it's not? It can happen in any aspect in life.
It's funny though, because like you don't want to be in front of someone and fake it. You don't want to, even if you're being your genuine self, you could be faking what you're trying to do together. And that's like something I mean, for the sake of, because we've caught up, I'll hold it, but I'll walk away and go, I don't want to do that to that person. Now, is this just me on a phase of like the ick of a person, or is it like, nah, this is genuinely like not vibing in whatever sense, and I'm just trying to look for it. But then again, the more you go back, the more you're planting seeds and like pushing things and making memories, so it feels real, and maybe it is because of that. But that's a hard thing to like navigate, actually, like trying to find out when you're around people, especially being this TikTok person, I get to meet a lot more people, and a lot more people want to meet me. And I don't want to play any dicky personality of, no, I'm not going to talk to you. So I am very open, but I'm also like, I can only spend time with so many people.
Yeah, exactly.
So who do I say yes to? Who do I say no to? Who chooses to say yes to me? Who chooses to say no to me? And like, what does it mean when you do have that time? Because there ain't much of it, especially when we're getting older. Are you finding that? Like, someone says, go watch this. It's like, damn, do I even have time? I have to reshape stuff. And because, we're growing up, like, obviously, but it is,
well,
time's the essence.
I'm only 19 and I'm starting to realize that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if your folks said it to you, but in high school, my mum said to me when I started high school, was enjoy high school because it'll go by so quick.
Yes.
Oh, whatever. It's 5 years. And you get to about year 11, you're like, I want to leave. I can't be bothered. And you get to the end of year 13, and you're like, holy shit, it's gone. You've gone from 6 hours a day having everything planned out for you, taking the piss with your mates in math class, to doing like no work, having fun in sports or whatever your interest was, to now be in the real world, going buying your own food, having to budget your money. Do I have enough money for gas and food this week, or whatever it may be? And it's like, holy shucks, it goes by so quick. Yeah.
And it's I guess like that whole high school thing. It is 5 years, and it's a funny 5 years because I now look at it in a nice way, and I was one of those people that really liked high school, but I drove past my high school the other day and just saw the kids coming out, and they're also down. They just look like kids like going through the phases, teenagers just like going through the messy phase. I'm like, shit, that must be hard. But you'll hopefully hit a spot where you'll be a bit more awake. When I popped into the school, I had a girl, and she walked in because I was looking for an old teacher. I just came into the school. I was like, hey, I'm looking for this English teacher. Where is she? And she's like, oh, she left last year. I was like, damn. It was one of those weird movie moments of like, I just wanted to say thank you because I hated you in school. Yeah. And I hated you because you gave a shit. And like,
yes, that's
and
so
like,
true.
so I'm out now. I'm like, damn, yeah, well done. I still think of you, so you win. Let me go back and say hi. But there was another girl that walked past, and she was just like, hey, I got this mark. And the English teachers were like, yeah, well done. I'm like, oh yeah, you're enjoying it and you're excited about what's next. Not that the grade's everything, but she just looked happy. And then I see kids now, not kids, people who are coming out of high school the years below me, and some of them look like they don't quite know where they're at yet, and that's fine because like you don't need to know. But it's like, I don't know, I had such a full high school experience. Not everyone did. And so when I talk about these are people from the same high school but years below, I want to talk about it in such a, wasn't it great? But I don't think they had the same experience, and they didn't. No one does have the same experience. And so how they enter the next phase of their life is a whole different tone. It's a different mood because of how they were shaped from high school. So that's something like I'm trying to wake up to and understand. And that was same with entering acting school. Right. I had done a year of film school. Some people were coming fresh out of high school. They thinked in the system way of a merit excellence, as well as some people who were way older in my acting class, who had lived a life, who had been overseas, and them all coming together. And like, there's people who are only just now understanding like what it is to bring out your political voice. And that was very interesting when you start acting school, because it is all about politics of place, about who you are. But I had one more year, and that did allow me, especially like it was like the Black Lives Matter year and stuff, allowed me to let it all out to the point where I'm okay right now, but they want to let it out. And then what that gravity shift does, because you're trying to find the same page. And then there's that moment. I love it. It's very interesting if you ever get into a room full of people, young people, not necessarily about the law politics, but about identity politics or, artistic politics. There's this moment where you really do get on the same page for a quick minute. Everyone in the room's like, yes. Like, it's, and then you start laughing because you're tearing up, but it's like, that's a magical moment. You can't buy those. And then you'll go outside for an hour and chat about it, like, because you can't help but drop it. Yeah. That's magic. But a lot of people want to deny it, that like, I don't like getting into politics, but the truth is everything you do is political.
100%. Yeah.
But it is, I get that too. Yeah. I get why people do. Or like, the classic, don't talk about politics around family. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, but it is political not to. So. Yeah,
and interesting way to look at it, that everything we do is, I guess, political, in some way it's a debate, because everyone has an opinion. And if you voice your opinion with someone, it's you're debating about what you believe is true or what you believe strongly towards.
And this is something I was telling to my friend the other day. I'm like, in a debate, for example, you're all, even if you're disagreeing, especially like heavy debates or conflicts, just even if it's someone arguing because they bumped into their car, they start an argument, and you're just disagreeing because you've got your view and you've got your view, but you're both connecting. All you're trying to do as humans is trying to connect, whether it's positive or negative, because you still want to hear their thought of what they disagree so that you can say yours. But there's still something going on about connection. And so there's probably a point with more open human beings where someone might go, okay, all right, well, I'll leave it there. I hear you. And they've let their heart like allow it a bit. But really, I still think like there's Yeah, when people are getting into conflicts, especially when you're with your mates and you're at the older age where you can like disagree maturely, though, you're wanting to connect because you still want to hear them out. You didn't storm off.
Yep.
That's what I find quite interesting about conflicts and debates and disagreements. Just about connection at the end of the day.
And about how passionate people are. You know,
Yeah.
I've never thought about it that way, but yeah, you almost say something, hoping they'll say the response you want, in order so you can just voice your next opinion.
Yeah.
But it's so true, because then you can argue or disagree for 20 minutes. Like you said, you end up getting to the point where it's like, yeah, you know what, you're right, I hear you. That's all good. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And it's sorted. Now, is there anything else that you want to put out into the world? Maybe something for you to reminisce on, something that to put out into the universe, to manifest for the people to hear?
Oh man, to manifest. That's interesting. Oh look, I think, I'd love if I could say this. Imagine if, like 5 years from now, you see something like a Key and Peele from me, like you see like a comedy skit show of some kind, or an improv. I'd love to do like some proper improv live, like really understand what it means to do improvisation. That I'd say keep your eyes out, because that might happen. And then a feature film, like I'm trying to find people, I'm trying to find artists, not necessarily filmmakers. I'm just trying to find people who know themselves very, very well, or finding themselves, but they're very skilled, and it's because they've been at it since they were a kid.
Yeah.
Like when I've seen good painters at this age, really good. I'm telling, like, you might have had some in your high school, but like they can paint. It's like, because you guys were drawing and stuff since you were 7, and you were good since you were 7. I'm curious in these people who really held on to the thing they were geeking out at, as Tyler the Creator would say, be a geek. Nuances in the nuisance, or nuisances in the nuance, and be that silly kid, but you're being silly at the thing you're very diligent at. I'm curious about those things, because I think when you make something like a feature film, it's so collaborative, and it's like, what if it can be a completely new kind of thing, a new form of feature film? And I'm trying to look out there in the world and see, especially in an Aotearoa based, shout out, because this is the week to speak some Māori, to find out these people from home who have these skills and have these talents, where it can seep into the creative spaces. That's what I'm curious about. So peep a feature script peep a feature film in a couple of years. And I wrote it on my Facebook wall. We'll see if it's real, but I said 6 years from now, Tyler the Creator will have a song in a film I make. That's like my hypothetical, hopefully dream, but yeah.
not hopefully, your dream. That will happen.
That dream, yeah.
Yeah, bro. And it
will.
Exactly, yeah. Not imagine, not wait and see. Well, not wait and see. Hopefully wait and see. You will wait and see. Yeah.
It will be, yeah. He might be older. He will be older.
But he'll still be wearing his wig and his loafers and jumping around.
He'll be slick with it. Yeah.
I want to say thank you again for coming on the podcast, especially in your time to relax and reconnect with yourself. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate this cordial, beautiful chat, and just amazing to have you here, mate. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks, bro.
As always, I love you guys. There's no silly question in the world. I love to say that only asking questions will better yourself. So until next week, do what you know is right, do what makes you happy, and do what you need to do for yourself. See you later.
Ciao, ragazzi.
Love is love.